Over the past 4 decades, the top 1% in America systematically rewrote the rules of the economy, enabling the transfer of an estimated $50 trillion from working families to the ultra-wealthy. It wasn't an accident. In 1982, stock buybacks, once illegal for being blatant market manipulation, were legalized. Today, they consume $1 trillion a year, benefiting only shareholders. The top 10% own 93% of stocks. The bottom 90%, just 7%. And this is just one example. Meanwhile, wages stagnated, productivity gains went unrewarded, and workers were told to be grateful for crumbs, while their labor built the economy the rich now own. The American Prosperity Program can unrig the system. Decades of damage won't be repaired overnight, but we've identified a series of micro-solutions that, when combined, will double your income. But we need your help. Join us as we repair the Big Rip. $45,000. Seems like a lot of money, doesn't it? This is how much is missing from your annual income that should have been yours, if not for something totally and completely out of your control. It might even be more than that. That $45,000 is on the low end of what could have been yours. With an extra $45,000 per year, per person, you and your wife, husband, partner would be making a minimum $170,000 a year. Would that be enough for you to live your best life, become your best self, and ease the pain of financial difficulty? This applies not only to you, but equally to all your friends and family. For most people, that much money is an unattainable dream. But the truth is, it should have been your reality. So why isn't it? Why is it that everywhere you turn, there's hardship and conflict, especially economically? It feels like everyone and everything is zooming past you, like you're stuck in place, especially financially. Through no fault of your own, the American dream has vanished without a trace. For you, your children, your neighbors' children, for everyone. And unless something is done right now, it'll be gone for your children's children too. Before we can talk about what to do, we need to talk about how this happened. To start, we can't emphasize enough that it's not your fault. This economic hardship you've been experiencing for years. It's completely normal to blame yourself, to feel some measure of guilt, that it's your fault you haven't provided for your wife, partner, children to the extent you had hoped for, that you should have been able to, perhaps if you had worked harder. But nothing could be further from the truth. None of this is your fault, your responsibility. You just got scammed like pretty much everyone you know. You and hundreds of millions of Americans were victimized by the biggest financial scam in world history. And no one seems to know about it. If it wasn't for this grift, you would have been making over twice as much as you do currently for the same work. Republicans and Democrats, reds and blues, middle class and lower class, everyone was equally grifted. This equality of victimization is perhaps the one single thing that unites us all. We call it the Big Rip. Over a period of 40 years, they took $50 trillion out of your pockets and transferred it directly to the richest 1%. $50 trillion that rightfully belonged to the American people, gone, just like that. Poof. It happened like this. It used to be that gains in the national economy and GDP were split equally between the lower, middle, and upper classes in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. This led to the greatest run of economic prosperity in world history. This is where the American dream was invented, and it's where the middle class was born. But all of that changed. In the mid-70s, the rich all got together for a meeting. Amidst the smoked trout croquettes and the ice bottles of Dom Perignon champagne, they decided this shared prosperity had to stop immediately. What's the point of being a rich person if all the wealth is being shared equally among all Americans? It simply wouldn't do. So they said, not in our America. In 1980, they turn the entire government on all levels, all of Wall Street, and the entirety of the corporate world into vessels with one solitary purpose: to make the rich richer. And they set out to do this directly at the expense of you and me. $50 trillion and counting, directly from you and your family's pockets. It was a completely new paradigm. Starting in 1975, the richest in the country captured over 99% of all increases in national income. That left a less than 1% annual increase for the middle and lower strata. It amounted to a paltry couple of $100 a year increase for you and me for over 40 years. And the reason it even went up by the less than 1% at all was due to you working more hours. Otherwise, it would have been zero, nothing, nada. And that's the stagnation. That's why you're running in place. That's why you can never seem to get ahead of the curve. That's why no matter how much you work, no matter how many hours you put in, it never amounts to anything but barely making do. It's the root cause of all that ails America to this day. Without any increases in income for 40 years, the American dream is no longer possible for virtually anyone. During this period, the wealthiest net worth increased 323%. Meanwhile, the middle and lower classes' net worth decreased 67% during this time. Get the picture? They're up 323% while you're down 67%. That doesn't seem right, does it? But it explains everything. What this all means is you specifically were screwed out of $300,000 in net worth. Every American, including you, your wife, husband, or partner, would now have this $300,000 in your pocket, over $500,000 between the two of you. If increases in GDP income were split evenly among income groups as they had been for decades before 1975, the average wage would have been $85,000 per year, instead of the actual $41,000 per year it currently is. A 108% increase per year, per adult, for the same amount of work. Would that have worked for you? By the way, in case you're curious, we have the scientific proof. So how did no one see this? Well, there was a duality to the scam comprised of what happened above the surface and what happened just below. In lieu of governing, Republicans for decades turned to demonization of their opponents in order to win elections. Democrats, in response, chose not to govern, but to focus instead on identity politics, which led to ever more conflict. Welcome to Conflagration Nation. The culture wars that pitted Americans against one another brought out the worst in people and continues to do so to an even greater degree today. This was all by design. With everyone consumed by culture wars, no one paid any attention or even noticed the massive grift by the wealthy elites. We call it Max Distract, an absolute brilliant strategy employed by the rich to disguise their massive theft. It tore the nation asunder. That was a small price to pay for their own enrichment. They sacrificed the unity of a nation for $50 trillion. And it came directly out of your pocket, which led directly to your stagnation. The big rip was purely a cash grab for the rich and wealthy. Both sides were too distracted to even notice the massive scam perpetrated upon them, let alone do anything about it. This left the elites to laugh at both sides, who were busy bickering and arguing with each other. Meanwhile, they played you for a fool. Politicians no longer govern, they just perform and agitate for clicks because that's where the donors are. They're not interested in any real solutions because that would be bad for business. Solutions might provide an advantage to one side or the other, while quarreling is good for both sides. National media and social media are not remotely interested in the public good because that doesn't drive ratings. When was the last time you heard either side of the political world or the media discuss how to improve the contents of your pocketbook? It simply doesn't happen. In our opinion, that's all they should be talking about. And even if they were interested, which they clearly aren't, they would have no idea how to go about helping you. Meanwhile, the big rip keeps ripping, keeps tearing, never stops. So how do we fix this mess? Here's 4 things you should know. Number 1, if you're interested in politics, you've come to the wrong place. When it comes to the culture wars, it has nothing to do with us, not one molecule of it. When it comes to your prosperity, we are apolitical. We simply don't have time for that, nor the interest. There are no solutions on that level and absolutely no tangible benefit to you. Those are the things that rich want you to focus on. So, if that's what you're looking for, we can't help you. This is a time for serious people to do serious things before it's too late. And if you're one of those serious people, we have some real work to do. Remember? A 108% increase in your income and net worth. Everything else is a distraction. Everything. Every day you spend obsessing about the latest outrage is another day they have their hand in your pocket. If you're not one of those serious people, you're the perfect mark for their scam. Trust us. Number 2, welcome to a world of truth, facts, science, and reality. For example, it's a fact that increases in national income and GDP were split evenly among all Americans, which resulted in the creation of the American dream for generations. However, since 1975, it's a fact that the top 1% have received over 99% of all gains in national income, causing the American dream to vanish for virtually all Americans. It's a fact that since 1975, the richest of the rich have transferred $50 trillion from your and my pockets to their own, the biggest financial scam in world history. It's also a fact that tax cuts for the wealthy do nothing to increase economic activity. They are simply a complete grift. This reality we speak of is the only place that solutions exist, the only place you can cash the paycheck you so rightly deserve. Not in a world of conspiracy theories, not where science and facts are rejected. You need to understand that economics is a science, and it is this science the rich use to scam you. We intend to turn economic science to our advantage. Number 3, we are not talking about socialism. We are not talking about communism. We are not talking about populism. We are adamantly pro-business and pro-corporate profits. It's obvious that the more corporations have in profits, the more they can afford to pay you. Our solutions are neither right nor left, and they are popular with the general public. Number 4, finally, in case you were wondering, we are a non-profit. Our American Prosperity Program is a completely free public service. Our reward is the smile on your face when you realize your family no longer has to live paycheck to paycheck. It's time to wake up. There's no going back. We can't undo what was done to you, but with your help, we can put a stop to it. We can get you back on the road to prosperity, back on the road to the American dream. As Caesar famously once said, with money we will get men, and with men we will get money. This has been true for the past 50 years in this country's politics. But we believe in America, and in America, votes are more valuable than money. It's a foundational element of our program, of our destiny. The fate of the nation rests upon it. Money has run the country for the last 50 years. For those 50 years, Americans on both sides of the aisle have consistently voted against their own best interests, voted in favor of the rich time after time. But it's our time now. Time to stand up for yourself, your family, and your country. At the American Prosperity Program, our genius is in devising foolproof, guaranteed solutions, unlike any in the country's history. We have formulated a program with 54 components, most of which are legislation that can get money back into your bank account. Our very first objective in Phase 1 is to double your income. That's how we expect our program to be judged. This very simple metric: do you have a lot more cash than before? We get it. This may all seem fantastical to you, but it's not. We promise. As we say, of the people's benefit, by the people's benefit, for the people's benefit. Please go to our website, www.americanprosperityprogram.org. You'll find further information explaining the program, listing the 54 solutions, and more. And you'll get an opportunity to join the community by signing up for further announcements. As we've said, it's time now. Please join us. Thank you very much.